In this video, I'm talking about how to be productive. Some of the points that I'm going to make might surprise you, but after you implement them yourself, you'll understand my philosophies and my principles. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. First of all, what even is productivity and how would you define productivity? For me personally, productivity, the art of being productive, is simply the ability to sit down and do deep work for extended periods of time. There's a difference between deep and meaningful work and feel-good work. If you want to think back over your last work week, what tasks come to mind? The only tasks that will come to mind are the meaningful tasks, not some fluff to feel productive in the moment. So using my definition of productivity, let's discuss how you can be extremely productive on a daily basis while still having fun. So first of all, most people, there have been numerous studies which give us the conclusion that most people can focus anywhere from 1.5 hours to 2 hours. That is the average attention span. Now with short form YouTube content, with TikTok, with Instagram, some people can't focus for more than a minute, which is so sad, but the average attention span, from my research, is around 1.5 hours. And what I'm going to discuss is the actions that you take after the 1.5 hour focused window dictate whether or not you're actually going to do more work later on. So I've got 2 scenarios here, right? Scenario 1, you do 1.5 hours of deep, meaningful, focused work. Amazing, right? But then you spend 3 hours playing Xbox. Your brain is extremely stimulated for that 3-hour window. And then you try to do some more meaningful work later on, but because you haven't actually rested your mind, your brain, you just can't do any more work because you're that tired and you need to get some sleep at that point and recharge. And option 2 is you do deep meaningful work and then you meditate, you sleep, and then you think of cool shit to do. And then when you do, you wake up and you execute, and then you sleep again. This is the method I personally use. it is the most impactful change to productivity which I've ever come across. Obviously, if you wanna hang out with your friends, if you wanna fucking watch a movie, just relax. You're not just gonna never do that stuff, but when you want to be productive, do the 1.5 hour deep. Do 1.5 hours of deep meaningful work. You then literally sleep and meditate. And then when you wake up, do another 1.5 hours of work. And then you meditate again and sleep again, and you get more thoughts, and you execute again and again and again. As of right now, I'm personally doing this indoors, but I'm transitioning to working outdoors, sleeping outdoors, and when it's in the middle of the day, just on a hammock, so I get all the benefits from the sunlight, and you're out in nature. Look, I know this advice might sound extreme, but just give it a shot. Do meaningful work until you can't concentrate, and then meditate, and then come back after you meditate, or even sleep. The thing with caffeine is, caffeine's not bad, right? Caffeine keeps you going for 3 hours. But guess what happens after the caffeine? You absolutely crash. So, if you want to use caffeine to work, maybe take caffeine 3 hours, 4 hours before bed, before you sleep. And that'll boost your productivity as well. Oh yeah, just quickly. There are multiple factors that dictate how focused you are. First of all, what's your sleep routine like? Do you use a bedtime alarm? Do you fall asleep at the same time every day? How much dopamine gets released in your body every day? How much scrolling do you do? How many hours of video games do you play a day? And finally, this is just a bit of, this isn't backed up by research, this point. This is from my own personal experience. But how fit and healthy are you? And what's your mental health like? Anyway, that's all I have for this video. I'll see you all tomorrow.